Latin 2. Here we go, the last bit of vocab for chapter 33. So lapideus aum. We're on the top of page 53. Lapideus aum. Okay. We already saw the word lapis, lapidis, in chapter 25 when a man got crushed, I think, by stones. So lapideus means stony. Okay, it means, you know, it's the eus, so it's like adjectival of that thing. Okay, there's another one like lignis, means like wooden or wood, and then so ligneus means wooden. So you see things like that sometimes. Next one, umbra umbrae. Okay, this means a shadow, and shadow isn't just a shadow like, oh look, I made a dog. It's the shadows of the dead. Okay, so these are spirits that can carry you off to the world of the dead. Kekiri usually means I fell, but in this case, since he had a sword in his hand, he fell at his enemy, he slashed at him. Okay, donek. This is one of those words you just have to memorize. Donek means until, and it shows up quite a lot. Prius. Now, prius here is adverbial. There will be another time where it will be like adjectival, but right now it's adverbial. So prius means earlier. Okay. Pecus, pecoris. Now this is one of those standard thirds of us, oris. Stercus, stercoris, corpus, corporis. They're all neuters that way. Okay, and this means flock. I know it says livestock, sheep, and cattle, but it's basically a flock. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it's sheep or cattle or goats. It's just a flock of whatever you're grazing. The next one, vulnero, vulnerare, vulneravi, vulneratum, to wound. Okay, obviously make vulnerable, right? Sanguis, sanguinis. This means blood. It's masculine. So sanguis is where we get the word sanguine. Sanguine means cheerful because all the blood rushes to your face when you're cheerful. It took me until about 4 years ago before I learned that. Sanguis, if you bleed out, you exsanguinate. If you like reading a lot of, what do you call it? If you read a lot of vampire literature, there's often like an internal group called the sanguinistas. So there's that. Medicus, medici. Now, one letter difference means that it's a beggar, mendicus. So medicus is where you get medical, or medic, right? But be careful. You got to spell it right, otherwise you mean beggar. Versipellis. So this is a portmanteau of two words. This is the word for versus aum, verto, vertura, versi, versus, which is to turn. And then pellis means skin, so you're turning your skin. You're a shapeshifter. So in this particular instance, they didn't distinguish between werewolves and shapeshifters, and there's certain literatures that don't do that. But yeah, so versipellis is a werewolf for this story. Otherwise, it's a skin shifter. And then postea. That's also adverbial. It means afterward. Okay. Now, the bottom, you see a bunch of verbs that don't do the standard thing. So exuo, exuera, exui, exutum. So we have induo, induera, which is to put on clothing, to don clothing. Exuo is to take off clothing. You could also say that it's to shed the clothing. It's up to you. The next one, procero, procedera, procesi, procesurum. You will notice that this has cado, cadera in it. Okay, because it's to fall forward. In other words, to go forward. Falling is what your feet do when you step. So falling forward, to go forward. It's where we get proceed, procedure, process. Okay. Careo, carere, carui, cariturum, and it takes an ablative, and I'll explain why in a second. So careo is to lack or to need something. I wonder actually if the word care actually comes to this, because if you care for something, you're tending to something that someone is lacking. I don't know. But it takes an ablative of instrument. Okay, it's you are lacking something. It's the thing by which you are lacking. Okay, so it takes an ablative. The last one, derideo, deridere, derisi, derisum. Well, this is where we get deride from, and it means to laugh at someone, to mock them, to get the last laugh. Okay, so to deride them, to be derisive, so that takes care of that. Okay. Okay. Now that I've done all the vocab for you, go ahead and read pages 54 and 55. It's just really fun recipes, and you can see what the Romans cooked. Other than that, I'm going to teach you some grammar, and then we'll be off and running to the rest of the exercises. All right. For right now, I'm just going to hit the button.